Welcome to today's newscast. Today, we are talking about... Wait, what happened to the Constitution? You're joking, right? And now we have some imperative news. The Constitution has been stolen by terrorists, and now we have a spontaneous video from an anonymous thief.
I have your precious Constitution. I request 1,600,066,056,000,056,000,000,000 Googleplex dollars. Or else the flame goes, and the Constitution goes bye-bye.
Wow, that is a lot of money. I guess our representative democracy is where everyone has to say, and their own opinion is now gone. It is also where people elect each other to represent their ideas/opinions to the government.
Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later, we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house. The soldiers are protecting the money and the jewels that we have earned through the generations. The soldiers are highly armed.
Without the Constitution, we would have monarchy, which means that federalism, which is the separation of powers, wouldn't exist. It makes it so each branch of power, it would be what, I don't know.
Confederate.
Oh, and don't forget that we really need checks and balances. Checks and balances is where the branches check each other's jobs to make sure equality is pervaded through the government's three branches. The president can veto laws the Congress makes, and Congress can override the veto with a 2/3 vote. If we didn't have checks and balances, we would have laws that didn't make sense. The Congress could declare war because they didn't like the shape of the country.
Separation of powers, where the branches make sure that no one branch has too much power. We have this in our court, so we're sure no branch has too much power. If we didn't have these separations of powers, no one would elect the government, because everything they do would be unfair.
Welcome to Fallout News. Today, we will be talking about we have some imperative news. The Constitution has been stolen by terrorists.
Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later, we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house. The soldiers are protecting the money and the jewels that we have earned through the generations. The soldiers are highly armed.
Without the Constitution, we'd have monarchy.
I like turtles.
Really?
Oh, and don't forget that we really need checks and balances. Checks and balances is where the branches check each other's jobs to make sure equality is pervaded through the government's three branches. The president can veto laws the Congress makes, and Congress can override the veto with a 2/3 vote. If we didn't have checks and balances, we would have laws that didn't make sense. The Congress could declare war because they didn't like the shape of the country. Wow, they sure found out a ton. I guess that a representative democracy is where it's one very important thing, right?
I agree. Where's the Constitution?
Where's the money?
Right here. Where is it?
It's right here.
Give it here. Give them their money. Take it and run, you dirtbags.
Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house. Soldiers are highly armed. Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later, we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house. Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later, we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house.
Should we turn the lights on?
Thanks, Brendan. Now we'll talk about the U.S. soldiers right outside the safe house, protecting the valuable inventory that the USA has. Later, we'll get an inside scoop in the safe house. Didn't panic.
Wow, that is a lot of money. I guess the representative democracy is where everyone has a say and their own opinion is now gone. It is also where people will elect other people to represent their ideas and opinions to the government, like how we elect our senators and representatives, which means we all have to go to D.C. ourselves to vote. But what if we have no powers and there's a dictator that made the laws? There would be no common rights. Wow, can you imagine life without it? Man, it would be a madness. Now to you, Jacob.